Chapter 25. Defiance.
Please support by subscribing for more classic audiobooks.
As Derek Kettering passed the car, Morel leant out.
Derek, I must speak to you for a moment.
But, lifting his hat, Derek passed straight on without stopping. When he got back to his hotel, the concierge detached himself from his wooden pen and accosted him.
A gentleman is waiting to see you, monsieur.
Who is it?
Asked Derek.
He did not give his name, monsieur, but he said his business with you was important, and that he would wait.
Where is he?
In the little salon, monsieur. He preferred it to the lounge, he said, as being more private.
Derek nodded and turned his steps in that direction. The small salon was empty except for the visitor, who rose and bowed with easy foreign grace as Derek entered. As it chanced, Derek had only seen the Comte de la Roche once, but found no difficulty in recognizing that aristocratic nobleman, and he frowned angrily. Of all the consummate impertinence,
The Comte de la Roche, is it not?
he said.
I am afraid you have wasted your time in coming here.
I hope not,
Said the Comte agreeably. His white teeth glittered. The Comte's charm of manner was usually wasted on his own sex. All men, without exception, disliked him heartily. Derek Kettering was already conscious of a distinct longing to kick the Count bodily out of the room. It was only the realization that scandal would be unfortunate just at present that restrained him. He marveled anew that Ruth could have cared, as she certainly had, for this fellow. A bounder, and worse than a bounder. He looked with distaste at the Count's exquisitely manicured hands.
I called.
Said the Comte.
On a little matter of business. It would be advisable, I think, for you to listen to me.
Again Derek felt strongly tempted to kick him out, but again he refrained. The hint of a threat was not lost upon him, but he interpreted it in his own way. There were various reasons why it would be better to hear what the Comte had to say. He sat down and drummed impatiently with his fingers on the table.
Well,
He said sharply.
what is it?
It was not the Comte's way to come out into the open at once.
Allow me, monsieur, to offer you my condolences on your recent bereavement.
If I have any impertinence from you,
Said Derek quietly.
you go out. By that window.
He nodded his head towards the window beside the Comte, and the latter moved uneasily.
I will send my friends to you, monsieur, if that is what you desire.
He said haughtily. Derek laughed.
A duel, eh? My dear Count, I don't take you seriously enough for that. But I should take a good deal of pleasure in kicking you down the Promenade des Anglais.
The Comte was not at all anxious to take offense. He merely raised his eyebrows and murmured.
The English are barbarians.
Well,
Said Derek.
what is it you have to say to me?
I will be frank.
Said the Comte.
I will come immediately to the point. That will suit us both, will it not?
Again he smiled in his agreeable fashion.
Go on.
Said Derek curtly. The Comte looked at the ceiling, joined the tips of his fingers together, and murmured softly.
You have come into a lot of money, monsieur.
What the devil has that got to do with you?
The Comte drew himself up.
Monsieur, my name is tarnished. I am suspected, accused, of foul crime.
The accusation does not come from me.
Said Derek coldly.
As an interested party, I have not expressed any opinion.
I am innocent.
Said the Comte.
I swear before heaven
He raised his hand to heaven.
that I am innocent.
Monsieur Carriage is, I believe, the juge d'instruction in charge of the case.
Hinted Derek politely. The Comte took no notice.
Not only am I unjustly suspected of a crime that I did not commit, but I am also in serious need of money.
He coughed softly and suggestively. Derek rose to his feet.
I was waiting for that.
He said softly.
You blackmailing brute. I will not give you a penny. My wife is dead, and no scandal that you can make can touch her now. She wrote you foolish letters, I dare say. If I were to buy them from you for a round sum at this minute, I am pretty certain that you would manage to keep one or two back. And I will tell you this, Monsieur de la Roche, blackmailing is an ugly word both in England and France. That is my answer to you. Good afternoon.
One moment.
The Comte stretched out a hand as Derek was turning to leave the room.
You are mistaken, monsieur. You are completely mistaken. I am, I hope, a gentleman.
Derek laughed.
Any letters that a lady might write to me I should hold sacred.
He flung back his head with a beautiful air of nobility.
The proposition that I was putting before you was of quite a different nature. I am, as I said, extremely short of money, and my conscience might impel me to go to the police with certain information.
Derek came slowly back into the room.
What do you mean?
The Comte's agreeable smile flashed forth once more.
Surely it is not necessary to go into details.
He purred.
Seek whom the crime benefits, they say, don't they? As I said just now, you have come into a lot of money lately.
Derek laughed.
If that is all.
He said contemptuously. But the Comte was shaking his head.
But it is not all, my dear sir. I should not come to you unless I had much more precise and detailed information than that. It is not agreeable, monsieur, to be arrested and tried for murder.
Derek came close up to him. His face expressed such furious anger that involuntarily the Comte drew back a pace or two.
Are you threatening me?
The young man demanded angrily.
You shall hear nothing more of the matter.
The Comte assured him.
Of all the colossal bluffs that I have ever struck.
The Comte raised a white hand.
You are wrong. It is not a bluff. To convince you, I will tell you this. My information was obtained from a certain lady. It is she who holds the irrefutable proof that you committed the murder.
She? Who?
Mademoiselle Mirel.
Derek drew back as though struck.
Miel.
He muttered. The Comte was quick to press what he took to be his advantage.
A bagatelle of 100,000 francs.
He said.
I ask no more.
Eh?
Said Derek absently.
I was saying, monsieur, that a bagatelle of 100,000 francs would satisfy my conscience.
Derek seemed to recollect himself. He looked earnestly at the Comte.
You would like my answer now?
If you please, monsieur.
Then here it is. You can go to the devil. See?
Leaving the Comte too astonished to speak, Derek turned on his heel and swung out of the room. Once out of the hotel, he hailed a taxi and drove to Morel's hotel. On inquiring, he learned that the dancer had just come in. Derek gave the concierge his card.
Take this up to Mademoiselle and ask if she will see me.
A very brief interval elapsed, and then Derek was bidden to follow a chasseur. A wave of exotic perfume assailed Derek's nostrils as he stepped over the threshold of the dancer's apartments. The room was filled with carnations, orchids, and mimosa. Morel was standing by the window in a peignoir of foamy lace. She came towards him, her hands outstretched.
Derek, you have come to me. I knew you would.
He put aside the clinging arms and looked down on her sternly.
Why did you send the Comte de la Roche to me?
She looked at him in astonishment, which he took to be genuine.
I send the Comte de la Roche to you? But for what?
Apparently, for blackmail.
Said Derek grimly. Again she stared. Then suddenly she smiled and nodded her head.
Of course. It was to be expected. It is what he would do, Chetapla. I might have known it. No, indeed, Derek, I did not send him.
He looked at her piercingly, as though seeking to read her mind.
I will tell you,
said Morel.
I am ashamed, but I will tell you. The other day, you comprehend, I was mad with rage, quite mad.
She nestled up close to him, looking at him with melting eyes. He thrust her roughly away from him. She stood there, her breast heaving, her eyes narrowing to cat-like slits.
Be careful, Derek, be very careful. You have come back to me, have you not?
I shall never come back to you.
Said Derek steadily.
Ah,
More than ever the dancer looked like a cat. Her eyelids flickered.
so there is another woman? The one with whom you lunched that day? Am I right?
I intend to ask that lady to marry me. You might as well know.
That prim English woman. Do you think that I will support that for one moment? Ah, no.
Her beautiful lithe body quivered.
Listen, Derek, do you remember that conversation we had in London? You said the only thing that could save you was the death of your wife. You regretted that she was so healthy. Then the idea of an accident came to your brain. And more than an accident.
I suppose
Said Derek contemptuously.
that it was this conversation that you repeated to the Comte de la Roche.
Morel laughed.
Am I a fool? Could the police do anything with a vague story like that? See, I will give you a last chance. You shall give up this English woman. You shall return to me. And then, Carrie, never, never will I breathe.
Breathe what?
She laughed softly.
You thought no one saw you.
What do you mean?
As I say, you thought no one saw you. But I saw you, Derek, mon ami. I saw you coming out of the compartment of Madame, your wife, just before the train got into Lyons that night. And I know more than that. I know that when you came out of her compartment she was dead.
He stared at her. Then, like a man in a dream, he turned very slowly and went out of the room, swaying slightly as he walked.
If you enjoy audiobooks like this, consider subscribing for more.